I didn't think that was going to cut. Hello folks, Reginald Scott here and welcome to the video. In today's video, I want to show you and tell you about a product which I honestly think might be the best cycling product I have ever used. And the reason I say that is because when I do the cost-benefit analysis of this product, I honestly can't think of another product which has given me this much benefit for so little money. This product gives you a huge benefit for hardly any price at all. Now, before I continue the video, could I ask you guys to do me a massive favor and just like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell on this video, and do please comment below if you want to. It really helps the channel out. If you like the content I make, I would super appreciate it. Thank you very much. Right, enough begging. Let's get on with the video. So the product is this, which is the RideNow TPU tube. It is a thermosetting polyurethane plastic, which we're all used to plastics in our daily life. Like a water bottle. It's made out of very similar stuff. Now, I know a lot of people are moving to tubeless. I will get onto that later. But the vast majority of you aren't on tubeless, and the vast majority of you are using tubes like this. What I'm going to do first is talk about the alternatives, and then it will demonstrate how much better these TPU tubes are than the alternatives. So this is what you're probably used to. This is a standard butyl bicycle inner tube. This one is for a 700C road wheel, and it fits everything from a 20mm tire all the way up to a 28, which I would say is the limit for road tires. If you're using anything bigger than a 28, you're probably doing a bit of gravel as well, or maybe you're just overcompensating. I don't know. I still ride on 23s, so there you go. The advantages of this thing is it's relatively cheap. In my shop, these cost $9. 9 Bruneian dollars, that's like 9 Singaporean, or a bit less than 9 Australian, I think. They're pretty durable. They last quite a long time. They are repairable. You can patch these when you get punctures. And when it comes to replacing them in your wheel, if you do get a puncture or if you need to remove them for whatever reason, it's not that hard, okay? Let's look at the weight of this butyl tube. And this one comes in at 121 grams. That's quite a lot of weight. This is probably what you're using. Now, some of you are probably using an upgrade on this, and that upgrade has always been one of these, which is a latex tube. This has got a few disadvantages straight away. The first disadvantage is this only fits 23mm, 19mm tires, so from 19 to 23, which is a much narrower band of tire sizes. The second thing is the price. These things are ridiculously expensive. It's pretty close to $30 a tube. I think I paid around $27 for this thing. But let's call it 30 bucks because they vary in price depending what brand you buy. Now, the advantages of a latex tube, one of them anyway, is weight. The second good thing about these is they're very, very comfortable. Because the material is so like stretchy and supple, they really soak up a lot of that road vibration, that road buzz. And you find that you just feel like your ride is much smoother and much more comfortable. And the next benefit of latex is because the tubes are lighter, thinner, and more supple, they suck less energy away from your tires as you roll. They have less rolling resistance, basically, or they contribute less to the loss of power from your wheels. And as a result, these things are faster than butyl tubes. Another problem with these things, though, however, is they go down very quickly. So when you pump them up, the problem with latex is that the material is very porous and the air molecules are able to escape the tube really easily. So what you find is that you have to pump it up for every single ride, and I mean every ride. And another issue with these is when you get punctures with these, they are slightly better puncture resistance, I would say, for things like pinch flats. They tend to be a bit more durable. But when you do get a puncture with these, they're very difficult to repair. The other thing about it is, of course, that because it's so supple and so stretchy, when you're putting it into a bicycle wheel, it's very easy to pinch these tubes. I have pinched and damaged quite a few of these in the last few months. I've been using these for 4 or 5 years now as an upgrade over the standard butyl tubes. and that was extremely expensive. So another major disadvantage for the latex tube. Along comes the TPU tube. So first off, this one fits anything from 18 to 32 millimeter tires in one package. So again, you can fit a really wide range of bicycle tubes and bicycle tires with this one tube. The next thing is these things are super light. That's not an exaggeration. They're very long lasting. Well, they're plastic. You know, plastic takes thousands of years to degrade, right? And they're 100% recyclable, which I have no doubt that that is the case when I look at the material. Now, these are good for disc and rim brake, according to the box. This is a 45 millimeter length valve, but they come in 45, 65, and 85, so they pretty much fit any carbon wheel out there. Here it is, this tiny little plastic tube. Look how compact and how small this is. Let's just compare it with the butyl tube here. If you're carrying one of these around in your back pocket, right, just imagine now how many you could carry for the same space. At least 4, maybe even 5. 36 grams. 36 grams. So almost half the weight you're saving over the latex. And here's the thing, these things, because they're plastic, they don't deflate anywhere near as fast as the latex. They're very similar, I find, to the butyl tubes. So they have the advantage of the butyl tube in that respect. I think they lose air through the valve somewhere, or the valve core, because I don't see how they can lose air through the plastic. Just while we're here, I want to look at the valve construction. So this is a piece of plastic with a screw-in valve core in the top. So these are removable. So in theory, you could put sealant inside these if you wanted to. And I actually think they'd seal really well because the holes in these tubes, when they get punctured, are so small. So I think that is definite possibility there. The only issue with that is if you put sealant in them and the sealant goes bad over time, you'll have to throw the tube away whether you need to or not, because you won't be able to remove the sealant from the tube. Okay, so this is what it looks like inside, and it's got sort of a soft plastic backing, and the tube is glued down to that backing. Feels like a rubber suction cup. You know the rubber suction cup you get on little toys and things you put in the back window of your car? Feels exactly like that. Interesting. Now this one, can actually tear it away from the suction cup. There we go. So there's the hole they make in the tube. This material here is exactly the same thickness as the rest of it, no reinforcement here, but it all just sits on this rubbery suction cuppy thing, and you can actually see where that is driven into the plastic base, and you've got some small molding marks here where this is molded on. So I'm guessing a mold clamps around the top here, and then they inject this stuff into there, into the mold. It sets around the base of the plastic tube, and then they probably perforate it with a hot needle or something afterwards, because this is slightly melted at the back here. That's my guess as to how they make it. Something like that. And it's not coming off the back of this tube at all. No, I'm not pulling that off with my hand, that's for sure. It feels really well attached. I wonder if I can break the tube. I can put a bit of a bend in it. The best I can do is bend it, and it's, as you can see, putting some nice indentations in my thumb. But that is really strong. It looks like it's a polymer injected with some kind of fiber, because that is really strong. I'm actually surprised how strong that is. So yeah, pretty tough design. Pretty good design, I think, actually. But they do lose air. They just lose air really slowly. The next thing is the price. $9 for the butyl, nearly 30 bucks for the latex, $15 for this tube. So it's almost half the price of the latex, $6 more than the butyl. So that is a really good bargain, I think, for this upgrade. So you've got a much lighter tube, makes your bike lighter, but also don't forget, I now carry 2 of these tubes instead of 1 of these. So when I go riding, I'm better prepared for an accident or better prepared for a puncture than I was before, but I'm still carrying less weight than I was before. So I've saved weight on my kit and I've saved weight on my bike. So imagine like you're saving 90 grams on 1 tube, you're saving that 3 times because you're probably carrying a spare tube with you when you go riding. Some people are probably carrying 2 spare tubes. That's a huge saving on your overall system weight. These things, of course, because they're quite supple and thin, they also roll really nicely. They are comfortable like the latex tubes. I can't actually tell which is more comfortable. I would struggle to do a complete back-to-back ride test on these and know the difference. They are definitely nicer than the butyl tubes, 100%. Now, the thing about weight saving on your wheels is it actually gives you way more benefits than you might have considered. So when you save weight on your wheel, you're actually getting 3 benefits, because lighter weight wheels accelerate faster. Okay, they require less energy to get moving as well. So they become more efficient. You need less power, less energy to get the wheel rotating. And as a result, like I say, they accelerate faster. And you also get the benefit of less system weight. So going uphill, you will be faster. And on the flat, you will be faster. Not forgetting, of course, that these things roll faster as well. So this one item for $15 is saving you weight. It's improving your acceleration. It's reducing the amount of energy you need to put into the pedals in order to get your wheels to rotate. And it's making your ride quality smoother. And it's saving you watts on your rolling resistance. That is 5 performance benefits. Like I say, the other benefits are it's tiny, so you can fit more of them in your back pocket for less weight. And the other thing I really love about these is they're pretty durable. I have had punctures with these. They do puncture like a normal tube.
So on closer investigation, I found a small piece of metal on the inside of my tire. So I found the hole, and it's absolutely tiny. I can feel the air coming out of it. So that's definitely the one. And I'm going to try patching it with a standard butyl tube patch, self-adhesive, just to see what happens. That hole is so tiny that I really reckon it's going to stop it if I just stick a standard butyl patch on it. I wanted to know what happened when you got punctures with these tubes. I wasn't sure whether they would rip from the pressure or whether they would just make a tiny pinhole puncture like this, and this is obviously what happens. So just a standard patch, and it appears to be holding air absolutely fine at the moment. So we'll give it a try on the bike and see if this works or not.
So I got the bike back home and everything seems absolutely fine with the tyre now that I've patched it. And I was thinking that actually these self-adhesive patches that are designed for butyl tubes might actually work better with these RideNow tubes, and there's a reason for that. You see, with a butyl tube, it's kind of stretchy material. So when you get a puncture in it and then you apply air pressure, the material stretches and the hole that's made inside the tube gets bigger and bigger. And if you try and patch that with one of these self-adhesive patches, what I tend to find is that after only a day or maybe a week, it comes off because the hole just keeps expanding and contracting and working its way out off the patch. With these RideNow tubes, because they're plastic and they don't stretch, the hole is only as big as the object that punctured it. So in this case, a very small pinprick. And so when you apply the patch, that's all you're covering, just a small hole, and it doesn't seem to expand, which is really, really good. So I actually think these might be easier to fix than a standard butyl tube.
It's actually really quite tough. And with latex, which is stretchy, and butyl, which is pretty stretchy as well, when you get a puncture through the membrane of the tube, what happens is as the air pressure rushes out the hole expands and you lose air out of these things really quickly. I've noticed when I get a puncture with these, I don't notice for several kilometers.
So I got another flat today, this time with the lightweight inner tubes, the super lightweight inner tubes. Don't know what the cause of it is yet, but the tire is going down quite slowly. I think I got the puncture about 5k back. I believe it's some glass or road debris. Yep, I found it straight away. It's a piece of glass. There you go. So yeah, I got the new tire in, and it's fine. Sorry, the new inner tube, which is another RideNow tube. It was just a piece of glass. Again, very small puncture hole, didn't expand, so it gives you plenty of time to keep riding to get to a nice place to stop. We actually stopped for breakfast, and I fixed it while I waited for my breakfast to arrive, so that was good. But basically I'm seeing a trend, which is if you do get a puncture, wait for the bus, and I'm seeing a trend that if you do get a puncture like a normal inner tube, the major difference is it doesn't go down quite as quick, which gives you time, which I like. Like I say, I got another 5 kilometers out of it before I had to pull over, and I could have probably gone a bit further, to be honest with you. Maybe 6, 7, something like that. So it means that if you're on the way home and you're nearly home and you get a flat, you don't have to worry, just keep pedaling. And it's an easy repair at the side of the road.
And when I do eventually notice and open the wheel up to either do a repair or to change the tire, the hole is absolutely tiny. And the advantage of that is, number one, if you get a puncture on the way home, you'll probably get home before you even notice you've got a puncture, which is great, means you don't have to stop. The second thing is that it makes it so much easier to repair these things. I have had great success repairing these tubes. In the last few months, I'll stick how many months I've been using these things down below. I've had 3 or 4 punctures, I think it is, and every single one I've repaired successfully.
So the patch kits that you get are relatively simple. You get alcohol wipes to clean the area. You get the instructions, which is apply the glue basically after wiping with the alcohol, wait for a minute, then apply the patch, and then within 30 minutes it's good to go. Probably sooner than that, but obviously they say 30 minutes just to make sure. You get a lot of patches. You know, a really good deal of patches, small round ones and slightly longer ones for tears, I guess. But I can't see these tubes tearing very easily. And here's the one I'm about to apply. So let's do that and see what happens. And this is how it looks when it's all pumped up. I'm going to put it on the wall, hang it up, and just make sure that the tube stays inflated before I put it back into my spares kit. I might even put this one straight back in the bike actually, because it is the lighter weight of those particular tubes. There we go. Very easy to repair, generally speaking.
And I reckon you could probably repair these with a variety of different methods. Again, the holes that get made in these tubes are tiny. You could just put a blob of rubbery glue on the hole, and that would probably do the trick, to be honest with you. Because you're having to plug up such a small hole, the amount of pressure on that small hole is not that much. You just lay your finger over it and it will stop the air from coming out. So you just put a little bit of glue on it or something and it would probably stop leaking. Better to use the official patch kit, but I'm just saying there are alternatives. Like I say, I've had no success with ever repairing a latex tube. If you have, well done. But generally, if you get a puncture or something with these, you end up throwing them away, which is a real shame because they're so bloody expensive. Here's the thing. I've been saving the best bit till last. This super light tube here that I have in my hand, only 36 grams, is a heavy tube. That's right. This is the heavy tube. RideNow came out with this, which is a 24-gram tube. 24 grams. It's exactly the same as this one. As you can see, the construction is identical. The thickness is almost identical. The material might be slightly thinner. I think it is just slightly thinner, and it's slightly narrower as well, as you can see. One of them is slightly wider than the other. So from doing that, they've saved several grams, only 24 grams for this one. There you go, 24 grams. So the weight saving over this 121 gram tube is nearly 100 grams a tube. It's so close. Smaller. So I can get even more of these in my back pocket now if I wanted to. It's ridiculous. These ones cost $19 each, so nearly $20, but $19, $15, there's not a big difference between these two. The major disadvantage of these ones is they don't fit as wide a range of tires. They only fit 18 to 28. But again, if you're a road rider, that is your range, in my opinion. Unless you're riding gravel or something, you should be probably on 18 to 28 mil tires. So for a roadie, this is a fantastic thing to buy. Okay, folks, safety first, because you never know when something's going to come back and hit you in the face. Actually thinking about this, I might go for something bigger. Yeah, that feels a lot safer. I'm also going to be gripping the end with the valve on it, just in case. I don't want that flying back and hit me in the face. Right, let's stretch out this butyl tube and see what it looks like. So this is relaxed, okay? And that's about as far as I can stretch it comfortably. If I stretch it any more than that, I can feel it's really under tension. So yeah, pretty stretchy. Now let's try slashing it with this blade and see what happens. Oh! Well, that went straight away. Wow, that went through so easily. I'm actually surprised. I didn't expect that to cut quite that easily, but you know, that's a clean cut. That went straight through. Ah, interesting. Okay, next one is the latex tube. This one is really stretchy. Like, I am so far back right now. Okay, about there. So maybe a third more than the butyl tube. I'm going to slash this one now. Huh. Whoa. I didn't think that was going to cut. Okay, that cut too. It took a couple of attempts though to get it. So I would say that the latex in some respect is more cut resistant, maybe. But that was interesting. Maybe I wasn't pressing down enough. Okay, final one is the TPU tube, the RideNow tube. So let's see how far this stretches. That's it. That really doesn't want to stretch. That is surprisingly unstretchy. There we go. Right, let's try cutting this one. Well, I think we've proved one thing, that this blade is really sharp. TPU. So getting progressively thinner, basically. But here's the interesting thing. The latex and the butyl have cut pretty cleanly. You can see where the knife actually went in here. The TPU tube has torn along the back, so this is the sign that the blade touched. And there's a perfectly clean cut there. And then you've got this really jagged, horrible edge on the back. And I think if you look at the video in slow motion, you can actually see where the blade went in and it cut, but it didn't go all the way through. It actually tore. So I would say that this was a little bit more resistant to the cut, because if it wasn't, that jagged edge wouldn't be there. It would have gone cleanly through. But I want to test these for puncture resistance. So what I have here is 2 blocks of wood, which I've taped together with a needle in the middle, a sharp needle. I'm going to place this on top of my scales, like that. Now it's zeroed. So as I press down on the needle, we'll be able to see how many grams are exerted before the tube is penetrated. Butyl tube, now about there. and press down. What's that? Oh, we've gone through. 200. Not through yet. Ah, pop. It went there. About 290 something, I think. Okay, so that's popping around 300 grams. Yeah, just slightly under 300 grams. All right, let's try the latex now. It's hard to see. It looks like it's coming through at 200. There. About 300 come through both sides. 330, I think it was. 4 now. That's definitely harder to puncture. Definitely harder. It had way more resistance in it before it went through. All right, let's try the TPU stuff now. That's also going about 400. Yeah, just over 400. $500 there. So we're looking at about 200 for the butyl, about 300 for the latex, and about 400 for the TPU. So it goes to show how durable this material is. Stretchy, quite stretchy, not very stretchy at all. All the advantages of this tube, just in a smaller, lighter package. I have saved so much weight off myself and my bike by switching to these things. I now carry 2 of these in my back pocket, and I hardly notice that they're there. They are phenomenally good. Now, there's going to be a lot of people out there who are screaming in the comments, why don't you go tubeless?
Alright folks, I was going to do a section on tubeless and all the many reasons why I won't switch to tubeless. Not just the reasons you're seeing on the screen now, but lots and lots of reasons. But I decided to cut this video down and make a separate video dedicated to tubeless tires and just explaining all my reasoning for why I won't switch. So if you want to see that video and see my reasoning for that one, just click the notification bell, don't forget to subscribe, and I shall see you in that dedicated video all about the disadvantages of the tubeless system.
There you go. RideNow tubes. If you haven't switched already, it's about time you did. These things are phenomenal. Any questions, leave it in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching the video. And as always, folks, ride safe.